guys, welcome back to week 10 of the Actual Vision Community Time Trial event. This week we're taking the modern stock car around Sonoma short track, an extremely hard combination. Last week I had the video ready, went to watch it and the sound had disappeared, so we had to redo the lap, and we actually went a little bit faster than last week's lap because I went back on straight away and beat the lap straight away because I was obviously used to the car, but it does take a bit of getting used to. The rear end is really tricky. I've altered the setup to just try and calm the car down a lot. It really wants to bite on you every time you put the power down, and it's got understeer then oversteer. You really got to fight the steering wheel through the whole lap. I mean, if you can watch my steering wheel when you're watching the onboard footage, you'll see that it's constantly moving around trying to find the traction, find the spot where it's not going to oversteer or understeer. Really tricky car to drive, and I don't mind it. I'm not sure whether I prefer the Project Cars 1 version of the car. I'm on the fence still, I'm not too sure, but the lap wasn't perfect, but it was an okay lap, and it'll do for showing you a quick guide of the lap. I think you can go at least a second quicker than, and I'm hoping one of you guys will get nearly to a 1 minute 15 flat, maybe a 14. So I'll let you guys watch the lap and see what you think, and then we'll go through a track guide. So we're going to run through a very quick guide of the track now. So going into turn 1, you got to get the car over to the left hand side as much as possible without losing the rear. It's not as easy as it looks. Then getting the car nice and tight. Be careful not to hit that curb on the right too hard, as it will just spin the car and you'll just pendulum out, and there's not much you can do. Getting on the power as early as you can, but again being careful not to hit that curb on the left when you're on the power. Then I like to brake a little bit earlier, get it down into second gear and try and get nice and tight into the curb here, but without touching the curb. Again, you're going to lose the car if you do. And be careful, that little ridge on top of the hill, it can unsettle the car. As we get on the power here now, you can see I'm really working the steering wheel. If you look on the bottom of the screen, you'll see the steering wheel going all over the place. I'm really trying to control the car as much as I can. Braking just past 100 on the left. Going down into second gear, I actually hit this curb quite hard and got away with it. Sometimes that will flick you out, but if you get it right, you can get on the power nice and early. You can see we're really on the power early and gaining a bit of time. This is where we gained over the Ghost. If you looked on the proper lap, you'll see the Ghost pull away a bit there. And then braking just before the 100 again, down in second gear. Again, we took this quite early on the brakes. Could have braked a little bit later. You can see we actually hit the curb because we were a bit early. But what that did is we managed to straighten the car really early and get on the power, and then get into third gear quite early, and then straighten these fast chicanes up as much as possible. You can see I'm over the curb on the left and again over the curb on the right to try and straighten it all up, and then staying in third gear, getting the car over to the left and trying to hug this inside so I can then swing it into its right hander. Again, you've got to be careful that the rear end doesn't want to spin out on you here. Hard on the paint. You can see I'm fighting the steering wheel all the time. You want to try and once you get the power down in third gear, you want to get it in fourth gear to double that power just to control the car a little bit. And then hard on the power, going into, again, keeping the car over to the left now so we can swing it back over to the right for this. I take this in third gear and then downshift into third and stay tight to right. I could have gotten the power a little bit earlier there, I felt, and maybe got a bit more of a fast exit. But then braking into this last corner, this is one of the big mistakes we made on the lap. We braked a little bit late. You can see I braked there. I should have really braked a little bit earlier, and then took a wider entry and then cut back to square it up more. You can see I'm not really pointing the right way now. I have to wait before getting on the power, holding the power, then on the power, and we probably lost about 3-4 attempts just on that little bit of the corner there. You'll see when you're watching the lap at full speed, you'll see how much the Ghost gained on us there, but it wasn't too bad. I think you'll be able to squeeze a 1 minute 14 out of this car around there probably once you're pushing it flat out, and we went over the line for a 16 flat, so it's not bad for just a very quick go. And I hope to see some of you guys maybe hitting a 15 at least, and pushing it hard. So one thing about this car though is extremely tricky to drive, so you have to have patience with it. Setup, we only made a few minor changes to the very basic up here. One thing I would possibly do is lower the brake pressures down to at least 88% maybe. I had it on 92, but it felt like it was locking up a bit. That last corner, that's where I lost a bit of time when I locked them tyres up and I couldn't square the car off, so maybe lower that down to 85 to 88%. You can see now that we actually had the wrong setup there, so we just loaded it back up there. So yeah, down to 88% there. You can see there I had the wrong setup before. You want more front bias, 70 to 30, because if with the default setup, it's really frustrating that when you brake it just flicks the car up. So I had to really front bias on the thing, and also put the weight to the rear to settle the rear of the car down. You can see there. And let me see what else I changed. Cambers I might have slightly changed, nothing drastic though. Ride height, I did slam that right down to the floor. I wanted the car as low as possible. We didn't make too many changes within the dampers. With regards to the differential, we made a fair bit of changes. This is where I had to really make changes due to the way the car is. One advice is the radiator. I'd probably run it at least to 15 to 20% maybe, and the engine braking I'd consider up into 2 maybe, to try and settle that car down when you're braking. I had it on 1, but I'm not sure if 2 to 3 might have been a bit better. You can see now this is where the main changes were made with the differential. We put the power rating all the way, the power ramp down as minimum as you can, and the coast up to 80, and we had the preload on 500. That's just to try and so we can put the power down without the rear spilling out us. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the lap. I'll leave a replay of that lap and you can have a little watch at it at 4 speed. Hope you enjoy this week's time trial, and I'll leave all the links within the description below. Thanks again for watching.